the race gets underway. Damien Harrington on pole position then. Can he convert that into the lead, into target for the first time? It's Joe Thompson going around the outside of him. Spencer Wansell also gets a pretty good start as well in the red car. The S-Class cars now leave the grid as well. We'll see what kind of a battle they can have. We'll focus on the sevens though. Spencer Wansell a little bit sideways coming through the banking there, but he holds on to second position. Here come the S-Class cars as well. And they are now turning through the banking. Like Arnold Duncan there was having a bit of a moment through the banking for the first time. But we'll focus for the moment on the sevens. Ross Billison there in the number 3 car. He's under a bit of pressure from number 38, Stephen Hopper, as they come out of Church Corner and head up the hill for the first time. But it's Joe Thompson that has the lead.
It is indeed. It's side by side for the lead in the S-Class, though. Arnold Duncan, I think, has just slipstreamed through, easy for me to say, ahead of Matthew Ayres into the lead of that class. So Arnold Duncan, I think, has got himself to the head of the S-Pack, heading towards Rocket. The Mini 7s, though, already accelerating out of that sequence of corners. On your screen, you can see Ross Billison, the white and blue number 3 car. He's got the number 20 right behind him of Thomas, Darren Thomas, a non-finisher yesterday, of course, looking to try and have a slight upturn in form. Here come the S's. It is Arnold Duncan out in front, but only narrowly in front as they round Peel and head down the hill. I think that is still Matthew Ayres in second place, and we've got a spinner in at the top of the corkscrew.
Yeah, and that is the number 14 car, which is Jamie Payne, one of the 7, so he's going to fall into the clutches of the leading S-Class cars. He's right in front of them now. They have turned around, have they,
yeah,
in terms of the order? So it's Ayres that's gone back ahead of Arnold Duncan, and they are now passing Jamie Payne as well as they come up and over the line. I think the S-Class cars had a slightly shorter delay this time before they got stuck, so they're getting well and stuck into the back of the Mini 7s as well. Joe Thompson it was that led the race outright, though, at the end of the first lap, 1.2 seconds clear of Spencer Wansell in second place. But here, the S-Class cars turning their way through, and the tour abreast through the right-hander of the banking for the second time in this race. 20-minute race, of course, so we'll probably get something like 14 or 15 laps out of this. Oh, and there's Duncan just ahead, I think, of Callum Perfect. There's the 736 car of Bertie Woolard as well, just tucked in behind Bradley Jordan as they make their way out of Church Corner. Up the hill they go. That's the 765 car, the blue and Dayglow yellow car of Callum Perfect. He's got Bradley Jordan trying to go around the outside of him at Rocket this time. This for third place within the class. It doesn't quite work out, though. We've got Bertie Woolard in 5th place in that class as well.
Well, it might just work out this for Bradley Jordan, though, because he got the inside line for the second part of Rocket. That was a really well-judged move, actually. Again, found the grip on the outside to get the inside line for the right-hander, but now doesn't have an abundance of grip, turning into Peel. The back end of Bradley Jordan's number 771 car getting a little bit out of shape, but does move up into third place. Glassie's even more out of shape through the corkscrew. He's not the only one, though, as they're all sliding around, heading down the hill, and a couple of them really with some nice saves. The 736 was one. That was Bertie Woolard, and I think the car at the back of that group also getting sideways. In fact, that's the car that's just got onto the grass by quite some way. That was the 704 of Chris Pryor, a retirement yesterday, and the way he's going might end up on the retirements list again here this afternoon, but manages to gather that one together.
Yeah. So here we go. We've got Matt Ayres. He's now pulled out a bit of a gap over the rest of the S-Class cars. You've got Arnold Duncan being challenged by Bradley Jordan for second place now within that class. Callum Perfect is right there as well. So these the three fighting for second, third and fourth position within the S-Class at the moment, and it's seeming to follow the pattern of yesterday's race, and that the S-Class battles are that bit more intense than those in the main Mini 7 class. But we'll try and keep you up to speed on what's going on there as well. But Joe Thompson leading by more than 3 seconds at the end of lap 2. The 14 car of Jamie Payne, he's got the Bertie Woolard car behind him and now in front of him, so that's a change there. But those two in different classes. Bertie Woolard in the S-Class, Jamie Payne struggling a little bit after that moment. He is in the main Mini 7 class.
Indeed so. So up towards Peel Corner they head then. There is Bradley Jordan, who really seems to be on form in this race, doesn't he? He's up the inside line through Peel Corner now and challenging for second place here against Arnold Duncan. Arnold Duncan hangs on for now, but then a really late lunge up the inside for Bradley Jordan. Did he make that one stick? Yes, he did, but Callum Perfect loses control behind, so Jordan into second place in class. Callum Perfect, not with a perfect run through the corkscrew, but it was a pretty decent save, Ian.
Yeah, Callum Imperfect there, I think, wasn't it? As we watch now Bradley Jordan go off the circuit at the exit of the corkscrew. He manages to hold on to the position, though. He's ahead now of Arnold Duncan then in the brown 789 cars. We're saying yesterday, one of the very few brown cars that you see in racing these days. 15 minutes, just under that of the race left to go. Joe Thompson put fastest lap in on the last lap to extend his lead to 4.7 seconds over Spencer Wanstall. Damien Harrington, yesterday's winner, third. Ross Billison, the Mini 7 Championship leader, in fourth position. But for the moment, we'll continue to focus on the S-Class. There is Arnold Duncan in that 789 car, now in third place. Callum Perfect, after that moment, has work to do to sort of catch Duncan again in this race. Duncan, for the moment, has not given up on P2 here because he's challenging Bradley Jordan again on the way up into Rocket. They're both now about 4 seconds behind the class leader, Matt Ayres. Through Rocket they go. There we just saw a shot of Ayres just in the distance, already having turned his way through Rocket Corner. And Bradley Jordan with a wiper on, although the sun is now out, there might still be a bit of spray being kicked up, although he's not actually following anyone that closely at the moment, and there's certainly dry patches emerging on the circuit.
Look how the wide line at Peel has dried out more quickly than the inside line. That shows where they've been running up at that end of the circuit. Bradley Jordan sideways, really sideways through the corkscrew this time. He's got that car on a knife edge, but not quite as much of a knife edge as the Bertie Woolard car, which has a big spin onto the grass and loses a handful of positions as a result of that. How many places did he lose? At least 2, I think, maybe 3. He will come through pretty much now at the rear of the S-Class, won't he? Yes, 7th in class now for Bertie Woolard after that moment, but you can see the way they're all struggling for rear grip on corner entry. You've got to drive these cars in that fashion, really, to help them to turn, but it can be very easy, as we've seen, to overstep the mark a little.
Indeed so. Right, so here is Arnold Duncan in that 789 car, the driver from Lydd. So he's had a long way to come to get here this weekend. Callum Perfect in the next car up behind him. Meanwhile, that's the 20 car of Darren Thomas. He'd got Stephen Hopper, I think, just behind him. Matt Ayres has just got past Nigel Davis, so he's got past another of the Mini 7 class cars as well. But there's a decent battle here going on for 5th position overall, 5th position in the Mini 7 class as well. Stephen Hopper and Darren Thomas. Good to see Darren getting a race today. Of course, he was a non-starter yesterday, so didn't get a lap in at all, but now he's having a good battle here for 5th position with Stephen Hopper, but they're both going to come under attack from an S-Class car before too much longer. Yeah,
Matthew Ayres flying in this race, isn't he? His last lap was a 1:33.0, which was quicker than everybody other than Joe Thompson out in the very front of the field. Again, Bradley Jordan dancing the car around down the hill. He'd make a good rally driver, wouldn't he, with car control like that? Clearly doesn't mind a car that is a little bit on or at times over the edge. Oh, speaking of over the edge, that's the 733 that's gone around this time of Alex Watson coming through again, the corkscrew, which has been the trouble spot for most drivers in this race. But is it me or is Bradley Jordan starting now to gain a bit of time on the cars ahead of 34.5? Well, not quite as quick as the class leader, but definitely starting to pull away from the group of cars behind him. As round Church Corner heads Ross Billison, not that far behind Damien Harrington. Now that would be the fight for 3rd place overall.
Yeah, it would be. There's 0.8 of a second between them at the start of the lap, something like that. So that's certainly closing in. Ross Billison, championship leader, let's not forget, in the Mini 7s. So he's got that lead to defend over Spencer Wanstall and Joe Thompson. Damien Harrington only 4th coming into this weekend. Still quite a few rounds to go in the championship this year for the Mini 7s. After this, they go to Brands Hatch, Castlecombe and Silverstone to complete their season. That next event at Brands Hatch is the Mini Festival event. I think always a great highlight of the season. Matt Ayres now ahead, though, of Darren Thomas, so he's picking his way through, but he's the S-Class car, so not really impacting a search on the lead battle. Oh, and now Thomas has got it massively sideways, and he manages to hold on to the position there as he comes down towards us, but he has now got Stephen Hopper and Nigel Davis right behind him.
Another one off. Is that Jamie Payne again? I think it might
is,
be.
yeah.
That's his 2nd spin, isn't it, of this race? Yes, it was Jamie Payne. We're hearing confirmation. He was nearly collected by another car. I think it was Bertie Woolard who came sliding in there almost as out of control as Payne had been, but thankfully avoided the stricken number 14, which drops back down the order once again. There's something about that first element of the corkscrew, isn't there, that's just catching everybody, almost everybody out in this race. It's not been catching Joe Thompson out thus far, though. He is now 9.6 seconds up the road from Spencer Wanstall. It's been a long time, I would venture, since a Mini 7 race was won by that sort of margin, and we are only halfway through the race. He could feasibly double that before the checkered flag flies. It is Spencer Wanstall second, still Damien Harrington third, Ross Billison fourth, and Matthew Ayres. A brilliant run this for the S-Class leader, fifth position overall.
Yeah, it's only the second time that the Mini 7s and Mini Medias, for that matter, have been to Anglesey Circuit. They first visited a couple of years ago, so a lot of these drivers won't be that experienced at this circuit compared to some of the other venues that they visit on the calendar, and there is quite a bit to learn, and so it's perhaps not surprising that you're seeing some bigger gaps than normally you would do in Mini 7 racing. Right, Chris Pryor, the Welshman, has Bertie Woolard challenging him. That's for fifth place within the class. Here's Arnold Duncan and Callum Perfect. They're looking for the final podium position. Duncan, the incumbent at the moment. As you can see on screen, Joe Thompson out in front has done another best lap of the race, 1:31.9. We're about now 7 seconds off the times that they were doing yesterday in dry conditions. I mean, the lap by lap conditions are improving, but also grip levels changing a bit as well. I think that is what's catching some drivers out.
Yes, I think so. They're probably being sort of lulled into a sense that there's a bit more grip than there actually is, and Arnold Duncan demonstrating that point perfectly, as indeed did Callum Perfect right behind, as both of them were a bit sideways through target. This is the fight, remember, for third place in the S-Class, and Arnold Duncan desperately trying to hang on from a recovering Callum Perfect, who had his own dramas up at the corkscrew a number of laps ago. Out of the banking towards Church Corner, and Callum more than within slipstreaming range here, isn't he, of Woolard. As again, you can see a drier line now, well off the traditional racing line. Perhaps also catching them out. Maybe some of the drivers are thinking, right, it's drying out, I can go off the wet line now, but actually the wet line is the dry line, if that makes any kind of sense, at least for the time being, until the rest of the track dries.
I'm still thinking about that.
It made sense in my head, Ian.
Okay, right, Duncan. Oh, and Perfect's gone a bit too deep in the corner that time, so he's lost a little bit of time to Arnold Duncan in a battle for third place within the S-Class. Meanwhile, Joe Thompson just passing our commentary box now, comfortably in the lead of the race. Still yet to see Spencer Wanstall appear out of the next corner. He's done another best lap of the race, a 1:31.5, another 4/10 quicker than he went on the previous lap. Perhaps worth picking up the battle for third. As I say that, it appears on screen. Damien Harrington and Ross Billison. They are fighting for third position overall. The gap down to only about half a second between these two cars now. Both did personal best. I mean, there's a lot of green on the timer's screen at the moment, but Billison was about 0.4 of a second faster that time, so he's really the one with the momentum at the moment, and he's only a length or two now behind Damien Harrington, yesterday's race winner, for the final position on the Mini 7 podium here. There's 7 minutes of the race left to go, so still a good few laps in hand for him to try and make a move. Probably not going to catch Spencer Wanstall, who's nearly 5 seconds up the road from these two at the moment. But Ross Billison here could be on course for another podium. He'd already had 7 podiums coming into this weekend. He made it 8 yesterday. Can he make it 9 out of 9 today? He needs to get past Damien Harrington to do that. He's late on the brakes up into Rocket. He's squeezed through on the inside. There's just a lighter touch between them there, but I think Harrington's probably going to come back. Is he? Well, they're still more or less alongside, but I think no, Billison has got it done, and number 3 goes to P3.
Yes, but that was not an easy pass, was it? Damien Harrington made sure of that and kept his car alongside the number 3 machine for as long as he could, but Ross Billison slipping through in the end. Now, what pace has he got now? He's released into clean air. He's sideways. He's hit a marker post. He's still sideways down through the corkscrew. Possibly not the fastest way through that part of the circuit. Can we just stay on this camera for the rest of the race? Because this is the action shot, isn't it? As they all arrive, almost every car sideways coming into shot down through the corkscrew, and in Bradley Jordan's case, sideways throughout the rest of the corkscrew as well. That is a brilliant demonstration of car control, isn't it? As the drivers dance the car on the limit, and eventually one of them had to get it wrong, and that's Bertie Woolard, I believe, who's pointing the wrong way on the grass.
It was the moment of switch to another shot as well, typically, wasn't it? And that's the 736 car, Bertie Woolard pointing in the wrong direction, and he's not yet able to get going once again. Now, there's Billison. He has now pulled out a bit of a gap over Damien Harrington. There was 0.8 between them as they came over the line. He hopefully will try and get away now from Damien Harrington, but he's still got, well, actually more than 6 seconds now to gain on Spencer Wanstall, so that's probably a vain hope with only 5 minutes or so of the race remaining. And certainly Joe Thompson, 13 seconds in the lead of this race, that's a bridge too far, I would suggest.
Bertie Woolard is out of his car, by the way, so that car is stuck on the grass on the edge of the road. Now, I would say that's quite a dangerous position even in dry conditions, but in these conditions I'd say even more so, and for that reason I suspect we're getting yellow flags and safety car boards held out, because we've seen how many people have lost control down there. The last thing we need is a car stationary at the side of the track, so there was no obvious damage done to Bertie Woolard's car. I think he's just stalled the engine, couldn't get going, but this of course is an absolute disaster for Joe Thompson potentially, because he had that nearly 13-second lead. Okay, we won't get a lot of racing in once this car is cleared out of the way, maybe only 1 lap, but it'll be a slightly nervier end to the race than Joe was hoping for.
Yeah, absolutely. In a way, he won't mind if this safety car's out all the way until the end now, which has to be a slight possibility because there's only 4 minutes to go, and the car quite close to the edge of the circuit is going to need some assistance to get it removed. The recovery truck is just about heading out onto the circuit. Of course, it needs to wait for a clear gap to be able to do so, and yeah, it might. It's just paused now on the exit, and it's going to have to wait for the full train to go through, I think. So I suspect, Andy, we might be very lucky if we can see one more lap of racing in this Mini 7 and S-Class race, which is a great shame, but not if your name is Joe Thompson.
Yes, he'll be fairly grateful, I think, to see the checkered flag now at the end of this one. But anyway, even if we get some more racing in, he'll have quite a few lapped cars, I suspect, between himself and Spencer Wanstall. Actually, no, only the 1 lapped car, isn't it? The number 777 of Dave Rees, who has gone a lap down. The only driver, actually, to go 1 lap down in this race so far. Then you've got Wanstall, 3rd car in line, followed by Ross Billison, Damien Harrington. Maybe Spencer Wanstall is the one who really will be hoping to see a checkered flag before a green flag, because the pace that Ross Billison has had, he might have been able to mount a bit of a challenge for 2nd place. The recovery truck has now been released from Parc Fermé, but is not, of course, permitted to go wrong direction up the track. So although the car that's stationary and needs recovering is very close to where the recovery truck was based, it has to go around the whole second half of the lap because it can't go reverse direction up the hill. So for that reason, if nothing else, Ian, I suspect we might well be done with green flag racing. Yeah,
it's frustration, isn't it? But as I say, it's just really close to where the recovery truck is based, but alas, half a lap away at least, and the recovery truck has still not been given permission to head out on circuit because there's one more car that needs to go past it, and that's what's delaying us here, and that's why the recovery truck can go no further. So only 2 minutes to go. I'd rather suspect that next time they come through it'll be with a checkered flag being waved at them, unfortunately. And that's going to be a premature end as far as any racing action is concerned to this Mini 7 Championship race. Recovery truck is now on its way to pick up the car, but there's no way this all can be completed before the 20 minutes. And now a red flag, race being stopped, which makes sense, I would think, because it means they can bring them straight into the pit lane at the end of this lap, or into Parc Fermé at the end of this lap, rather than have them cross the line and do another lap and prolong the agony for everyone, especially as we are going into our lunch break next. That will be until 1:25 when we'll continue with racing with the Gas Shocks 116 Trophy, the Nankang Tyre Sports 1000 Championship, the Tagiwa Type R Trophy, and the K-Tech Racing Clear Sport Championship. So a 90-minute endurance race followed by 3 15-minute sprint races to round out the weekend here at Anglesey Circuit. The gap in between now and then is going to be largely plugged by Kieran Mogg, who is firstly hopefully going to speak to some mini drivers, and then also do a bit of a pit walk, see who's in and around the pit garages, probably and particularly from the 116 Trophy and the Sports 1000 contingent. So we'll hear from Kieran shortly. Let's have a look at the results of that red flagged Mini 7 Challenge race. So Joe Thompson it was that took the win in car number 8. The result going back to the end of lap 10. He was 13 and a bit seconds clear ahead of Spencer Wanstall, number 73 at that point in time. Third to number 3, Ross Billison, just made it onto the podium in the nick of time then. Fourth to number 29, Damien Harrington. Fifth, number 700, Matt Ayres. Great drive from him to have another victory in the S-Class, ahead of 20 Darren Thomas, 38 Stephen Hopper, 26 Nigel Davis. Then second of the S-Class cars was 771 Bradley Jordan, ahead of Arnold Duncan. Then it was Callum Perfect, Chris Pryor, Jamie Payne and Alex Watson. That took you down to 14th place. And a little bit further back, I think we saw the 785 car of Tony Ayres and the 777 car of Dave Rees, with Wallard, the driver that caused the red flag, the only non-finisher from that race for the Mini 7s. It's been great to have them with us at the 750 Motor Club meeting this weekend. Hopefully we'll see them again in the future. Hopefully they've enjoyed their weekend, their second ever weekend at Anglesey Circuit. And look how fantastic it looks now. Blue skies coming in, and hopefully that's the tone for the rest of the afternoon here at the North Wales Circuit. Certainly that's what the forecasters led us to believe. As I say, 4 more races to come after the lunch break, but for the next 50 minutes we'll leave you in the company of Kim and Mog.
You can't hate the minis. They are so good. And we have our winner, Joe Thompson, here. We'll just try and grab Joe. He's just having a moment with the team. And if we can just jump in a second. Hold on. Here we go. Joe, fantastic drive out there. Fantastic. How was it?
A little bit boring, to be honest. I thought when we get off, with the rain coming down, it was a bit of 50-50, so we didn't quite know what to do, tyres set up. But yeah, I thought we'd get off and it'd be quite chaotic for a few laps, but we sort of checked out. So happy with the car. Can't fault it. I'm not going to moan, but yeah, we thought it'd be a little bit closer.
Can't be a bad way to end the weekend, though.
No, definitely not.
Well, congratulations on the end of the weekend in such a fantastic way.
Thank you, and we'll enjoy the sun now.
Exactly, now it's here, yes, absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Right, we'll just jump in with Spencer. Spencer, hello. So, second place.
Yeah.
Good way to end the weekend?
Yeah, good way to end the weekend. We put a hell of a lot of effort in before we got here this weekend, thanks to my dad, mainly over here. And yesterday it didn't really pay off. We don't really know what the problem was, but we're not where we want to be. So getting back and getting a second place for my dad, Team CAD and Team Mini Spares is a nice reward to end the weekend on. Hopefully we'll push on now and go to Brands Hatch and get some even better results than that.
Absolutely. And in terms of the track, obviously it has stopped raining, the sun's come out. Did you notice that the track was drying out, or was there a line forming?
Yeah, it was getting drier as the race went on, lap by lap. It was changing every single corner. But yeah, Joe obviously has got something else in the box which I haven't got, and the pace is a lot higher than mine in Joe's car at the moment. So yeah, work to do before Brands, but we'll get there.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on the second place.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we'll quickly speak to third place Ross Billison. Ross, hello, third place. How was that race on your end?
Okay. Yeah, these conditions aren't really for me, but just got my head down. Obviously, just kept honing in on daming in. I managed to squeeze in third position just before the incident of the corkscrew. So, yeah, happy with the podium, but I need to drive a bit better to beat these two in these conditions.
Do you reckon it's driving or the car?
Driving. Nothing wrong with a car.
That's not what you say.
I know, but the team's right behind me, so I've got to be careful with what I say.
They're not listening.
No, it's been a good weekend, 2/3. I think we're still leading the championship, so yeah, we'll just keep pushing for the rest of the season. So.
Absolutely, well, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now, we do want to speak to Matthew Ayres, but same issue that we've been having all weekend is I don't know where any of the drivers are, apart from the ones that are kind of dotted around. So rather than kind of going on a wild goose chase, what we'll do is quickly go to an ad break, and then we've got the pit lane walk coming up in just a minute, so don't go anywhere.